So I can't quite believe I'm reading the next instalment of this Greek myth because it's called Arachne the Spinner. And Arachne just reminds me of a spider, so we'll have to find out whether it is or not. Once, when all cloths and clothes were woven by hand, there was a needlewoman called Arachne, more skillful than all the rest. Her tapestries were so lovely that people had paid a fortune to buy them. Tailors and weavers came from miles around just to watch Arachne at her work on the loom. Her shuttle flew to and fro, and her fingers plucked the strands as if she were making music rather than cloth. "The gods certainly gave you an amazing talent," said her friends. "Gods? Bodkins? There's nothing the gods could teach me about weaving. I can weave better than any of the god or goddesses." Her friends turned rather pale. "Better not let the goddess Athene hear you say that." "Don't care who hears it. I'm the best there is," said Arachne. An old lady sitting behind her examined the yarns Arachne had spun that morning, feeling their delightful texture between her finger and her thumb. "So if there were a competition between you and the goddess Athene, you think you could win?" she said. "She wouldn't stand a chance," said Arachne. "Not against me." All of a sudden, the old lady's grey hair began to float like smoke about her head and turned to golden light. A swish of wind blew her old coat into shreds and revealed a breastplate of silver and a robe of dazzling white. She grew taller and taller until she stood head and shoulders above the crowd. There were no mistaking the beautiful grey-eyed goddess. Who? That's right, Athene. "And let it be so," declared Athene. "A contest between you and me." Arachne's friends fell on their faces in awe, but Arachne simply threaded another shuttle, and although her face was rather pale and her hands did tremble a little, she smiled and said, "A contest then, to see who is the best needlewoman in the world." To and fro went the shuttles, faster than the birds building a nest. Athene waved a picture of Mount Olympus. All the gods were there, heroic, handsome, generous, clever, and kind. She wove all the creatures of creation on her loom, and when she wove a kitten, the crowd sighed, "Aww." And when she wove a horse, they wanted to reach out and stroke it. Alongside her sat Arachne, also weaving the picture of the gods. But it was a comical picture. It showed all the silly things the gods had ever done, dressing up, squabbling, lazing about and bragging. In fact, she made them look just as foolish as ordinary folk. But oh, when she pictured a butterfly sitting on a blade of grass, it looked as if it would fly away at any moment. When she wove a lion, the crowd shrieked and ran away in fright. Her sea shimmered and her corn waved, and her finished tapestry was more beautiful than nature itself. Athene laid her shuttle down and came to look at Athene's weaving. The crowd held its breath. "You are the better weaver," said the goddess. "Your skill is matchless. Even I don't have your magic." Arachne preened herself and grinned with smug satisfaction. "Didn't I tell you as much? But your pride is even greater than your skill," said Athene, "and your cheekiness is past all forgiving." She pointed out Arachne's tapestry. "Make fun of the gods, would you? Well, for that, I'll make such an example of you that no one will ever make the same mistake again." She took the shuttle out of Arachne's hands and pushed it away into her mouth. Then, just as Athene changed from an old woman into her true shape, she transformed Arachne. The girl's arms stuck to her sides and left only her long, clever fingers straining and scrabbling. Her body shrank down to a black blob no bigger than an ink blot, an end of thread still curled out of its mouth. Athene used the thread to hang Arachne up on a tree and left her dangling there. "Weave your tapestries forever," said the goddess, "and however wonderful they are, people will only shudder at the sight of them and pull them to shreds." And it all came true, for Arachne had been turned into the first spider, doomed forever to spin webs in the webs of rooms, in bushes, in dark, unswept places. And though cobwebs are as lovely as a piece of weaving as you'll ever see, just look how people hurry to sweep them away. And how true is that? So a spider was born from someone boasting about how amazing they were at weaving. So what does that moral tell you? I'll let you ponder. I hope you enjoyed.